Welcome to Open My Eyes podcast, where we learn to become our authentic selves, the best version of ourselves. I'm your host, Nathaniel Deweese. I remember a time when I really dealt with my feelings in the wrong way. I felt like at the time that I really approached things in a way at that time they really made sense. I would respond in a way that made me feel like I had the power, like I had the control. And I would make sure that I was being heard. I would make sure that I was the one having the last word. It didn't matter what the argument was about. All I knew is that I had to have the last word. And I didn't really even consider or think about the other person's feelings. And I didn't really recognize or pay attention how I was coming across. All I knew is that while I was in this relationship, that this person became more and more detached from me every time we would have a situation. They would find reasons or ways to not want to be around me. And that really began to pull out other types of things within me that I never even recognized or even paid attention that I had during that time in that relationship. As we began to grow together, I found myself really attached to this person, really trying to spend time with them, really trying to get to know them, really trying to understand who they are as a person. And I would put so much time and energy into making sure that their needs and what they wanted and all of that stuff was taken care of. I really put a lot of energy into understanding how they thought, understanding what they like, understanding what made them feel a certain kind of way. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy into making sure that she was okay. But what I didn't do is I didn't realize that all of that time and all of that energy and all of that effort that I was putting into that was really causing that individual to start to feel smothered and start to feel like they had no freedom, and start to feel like they had no life. They had to check in with me for me to feel okay. When they did not check in with me, when I sent them a message and they didn't respond back to me, I found myself becoming very uncomfortable, feeling very anxious, feeling like something's going on in my mind. I begin to create these stories and these outcomes that something must have happened or something must be up because she don't never take this long to get back to me. She don't take this long to respond back to me. I became so paranoid and so focused on the fact that I hadn't heard back from this individual that it began to consume my thoughts and my feelings at that time. It began to overtake me at that time. And I never correlated that with anything else besides, why are you taking so long to get back to me? If you would take the time to respond to me and get back to me when I wanted you to, within the time frame as which I desired for you to get back to me, then I wouldn't feel this way. I would put the blame on that person and say, you made me feel this way because you didn't give me the response I was looking for within the time frame that I constructed within myself. I never understood what it meant to push someone away to the point to where they don't want to have anything to do with me. And it became that method and that type of treatment over time. It didn't happen overnight. My feelings needed to be validated. Everything I desired, everything I wanted, everything that I needed had to be validated. She had to approve my feelings for me. I had no self-worth or self-value to be able to validate my own feelings. And when my feelings were not validated, I became very emotionally unstable. I became very moody. I became very irritated. I started crying. I started making up these stories in my mind. I started believing the stories in my mind. I started to act out on the stories that happened in my thoughts and in my mind. I started to entertain. I started to entertain my own fantasies. I started to look at the things and find reasons to blame and reasons to look and try to nitpick and look real deep and really find something that I could use to say, hey, if you wouldn't have did this, then I wouldn't feel this way. Does that sound familiar to you? I operated from this place of, hey, I'm not validated within myself, so I need you to validate me so that I can feel better about me. I needed the approval. I needed to feel like this person cared for me. And when they didn't give me with that, they didn't care about me. You see, carrying that type of behavior and operating out of that type of behavior does not come from out of nowhere. That's the misconception. They say that most of the population have what we call a secure attachment, which I don't believe it. I believe that most of the population have what we call dysfunctional attachments. When we start talking about needy attachment style, I kind of explained a little bit about how my behavior was, how the constant need for validation, the constant need for approval, the constant need for attention, the constant need for you to be around that person, the clinginess, the need to, I need to hear or get a response within a created time frame within our mind, the construction of our mind, right? Somebody said, I'm a sucker for love. Not knocking anybody who says I'm a sucker for love, but I was a sucker for love. And when I was a sucker for love, I was very weak-minded. And that person was my thought. That person stimulated me. That person made me feel better. That person validated my thoughts, validated my feelings, because I could not do it for myself. I really struggled with that neediness because I had no sense of myself. A sense of myself is being able to recognize things within me. So if somebody did not respond to me within the time frame, if I had a sense of myself, I would say in my mind, hey, maybe she's busy. Maybe something came up. She will get back to me when she has the time to respond to me. But because I didn't have a sense of myself, I will find myself losing emotional self-control, and I will find myself wanting and demanding more time and attention than what they was willing to give, which is what? Unattractive. It pushes somebody away. Unless you are dealing with somebody who has the same types and the same behaviors as you, that tends to push somebody who has a more healthy or a more secure mindset, that tends to push them away, is always wanting to be around them, always wanting to make sure that they're okay, always wanting to make sure that you have that energy and that time to give them, right? Those things are signs that we have no sense of self. We have no time to spend with ourselves. We have to be around these individuals because when we're by ourselves, we are feeling lonely, we're feeling exposed, we're feeling vulnerable, we're feeling like these people don't care about us. We're creating all these stories in our mind, and really, it's no sense of self. There's nothing wrong with spending time with the individual. There's nothing wrong with spending time with them. But what about the overspending of time with the individual? What about never allowing that person to have any time to themselves because it makes you feel better, right? That is no sense of self. I operated, functioned, lived, breathed out of having no sense of myself. So I will put myself into these individuals, and those individuals will make me feel powerful. They will make me feel validated. They will make me feel like I was in control. And when they stop giving me their time, my entire world began to fall apart. And as my time and the energy began to become more separated from this person, or I felt like they wasn't giving me that time or that attention that it was once giving me, I began to overreact. I began to overthink. I began to overcompensate for things in my life or in that relationship. I would begin to look for things to go wrong. I would begin to look for things to happen. I would begin to look for things to kind of manifest, right? Because I needed that response from them. And if I didn't get that response, there was a complete overreaction. This person or these persons couldn't go anywhere without me, right? They couldn't go to the store. I wanted to go to the store with them, right? They wanted to have some free time. And I would find a way to say, oh, how can I be there with you? I can make you feel better, or we can have a good talk, and really, they really were saying, hey, I need some time and space But because of my blindness to my own behavior, I would say in my mind, hey, let me find a way to kind of fill that time and that space with you, because I didn't have enough sense of self or enough self-confidence or enough self-awareness to want to be alone for myself. I couldn't be alone by myself because I had no self-worth. I had no self-value, because my self-value and my self-worth was tied up into this individual, and that I put it there, right? I put it at their feet, and I put that demand for them to make me feel a certain kind of way, for them to validate me, for them to make me feel important, right? I never thought about, oh, I'm important by myself, or I'm valuable by myself. No, it was always linked and tied to this individual or other people. So I needed to constantly be in communication. I needed to constantly be texting. I needed to constantly be on the phone all day. Have you ever been on the phone with somebody so much that you have nothing to say, but yet you want to be on the phone with them? That is needy behavior. There has to be a time to where there's a separation between you and that individual, to give them time and to give them space. If I had to text you all day and then I had to be on the phone with you all day, what do I have left to talk to you about? Nothing, right? I'm on the phone with you 2-3 hours a day, and very little of that is conversation. Most of that is sitting there listening to you breathe, or listen to each other breathe, because guess what? I took all of the mystery out of the reason why I wanted to get to know you. Too much time, too much energy, too much effort. We have to allow each other to have some space and some time. Other than that, we begin to lose attraction. And there's nothing more devastating than feeling that shift when something changes in that needy environment, in that let me validate you environment, let me empower you environment. When they stop doing that, something shifts and something changes. And now we're left feeling very exposed, very vulnerable to that individual. And now we're doing what we call the grand gesture to make sure that we get back that feeling again, that make sure that we're getting back that reaction again, that make sure that that thing that we once had before, oh, we want it back. And we're going to do whatever we can to try to get it back, right? They begin to pull away and your whole world falls apart because we have no sense of ourselves. We have put so much time and energy and effort into this person validating us that we never took the time to really build that up for ourselves, right? So I had to begin to come out of that because I found myself becoming extremely jealous about everything, a phone call, a text message, and really trying to figure out what was going on the other side of that phone that I wasn't attached to. I didn't realize that I was smothering, and that smothering was the thing that really caused attraction to die. When you smother somebody, or when you overspend time with somebody, or when you talk to somebody too much on the phone, or when you text somebody too much, it's a type of smothering, and that smothering kills attraction. So I had to really begin to work on myself and understand the neediness of my behavior. And I realized, and I talked about this in one of my podcasts in like season 1, about my extreme attachment to my caregivers and how I couldn't be out of their sight without me having an emotional response that was far out of control. I dealt with a lot of separation anxiety as a child, and that translated over into my adult life to where I acted and responded out of emotions that the response did not govern the action, meaning that I overreacted to things a lot in my life. It wasn't until I dealt with somebody who really began to call me out on my behavior. And after I went through that relationship, that's when I really had to begin to fine tune and understand what was going on with me, because I was a mess, right? And most of us, we think we got it together, but really we're a mess. So really I had to just really take that time out and really understand why I felt that way. We will get into more details in part 2. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining today's podcast. I hope it was inspirational to you. Let's continue to build, inspire, and grow together. Until the next podcast. Would you like to support this podcast? If so, please visit openmyeyes.captivate.fm/. There you will find the player. Click on the link and follow the links tab. Thank you for your support. For your continual support, please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks again.